As of July 31st, 94,802 people have arrived in 2017, a total which is slightly higher than that for the same period of last year. But the arrivals appeared to slow in July, as the number was significantly lower than it was in July of last year, 10,781 this year versus 23,552 in July of last year. The top 4 nationalities of arrivals have remained the same as in recent months: Nigeria, Guinea, Bangladesh, and the Ivory Coast. Although arrivals by boat may have been down since July, tensions regarding them are not. In the first days of July, following a meeting in Paris between Germany, France, and Italy, plans were announced to tighten controls on NGOs that perform search and rescue operations in the Mediterranean. Following this announcement, a draft of the NGO Code was released, to which NGOs responded with their comments and demands. NGOs were divided in their attitudes toward the code, as evidenced by the eventual response of 2 prominent NGOs. While Save the Children signed it, saying that the text of the code had been modified satisfactorily, Doctors Without Borders declined to sign the code, pointing to a number of problematic provisions which had not been resolved. Chief among those was the issue of allowing armed police on board the ships. Doctors Without Borders has a strict policy against weapons in its projects. The General Director of Doctors Without Borders in Italy, Gabriele Eminente, emphasized that the NGO will continue to respect the majority of the provisions of the code, which are in line with Doctors Without Borders' mission. In the end, just 3 NGOs signed the code, to which result Minister of the Interior, Marco Minniti, responded by warning that all the NGOs who did not sign are out of the system and that there will be consequences. Further, with reception centers nearly over capacity, Italy has outlined a plan for a naval mission in Libyan waters aimed at reducing the flow of asylum seekers toward Italy. Defense Minister Roberta Pinotti made it clear that the mission would not be a blockade, but would instead be aimed at supporting the Libyan Coast Guard. To that end, Italy will send a logistics ship and a patrol boat to help the Libyan units in recovering migrants from smugglers and returning them to Libya. Human Rights Watch, among others, has already voiced its concern over the Italian naval mission, saying that it could put migrants in more danger. In June, nearly 1,000 people were relocated from Italy. However, the pace of relocation in July has been on the decline, with about 600 relocations from Italy. In total, as of July 24th, nearly 8,000 people had been relocated from Italy. Germany has taken in the most, just over 3,000 from Italy. Finland, the Netherlands, Norway, and Switzerland have each taken over 700 people from Italy. Other countries have taken in small numbers from Italy, and Malta is the only country to have already fulfilled its pledged number. In contrast, Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic continue to be in breach of their legal obligations, as they have neither relocated seekers from either Italy or Greece, nor even pledged to do so. Other countries, such as Bulgaria and Slovakia, have taken in only tiny numbers from Greece and have not taken in a single person from Italy. To streamline the process, the European Commission has urged Italy to implement a system of sending those asylum seekers who are to be relocated out of Italy to a limited number of centers in Rome, which would serve as hubs dedicated to relocations until the process is completed. Italy has begun to do so, and to support this effort, the European Commission recently awarded Italy 15.33 million euros under the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, AMIF, for the provision of accommodation, food, healthcare, and linguistic and cultural mediation in 3 dedicated relocation hubs. In June of this year, 13,165 asylum claims were made in Italy, and decisions were taken on a total of 6,576 pre-existing asylum seekers' claims. Since it often takes months before an asylum seeker receives an initial decision on her claim, these 6,500 decisions taken in June were on asylum claims that were likely made many months prior. Likewise, the 13,000 asylum seekers who made requests in June will probably have to wait several months before they receive an initial decision. The average wait time for an initial decision was 1 year as of September 2016. Of those, 673, 10%, got refugee status, 523, 8%, got subsidiary protection, 1,574, 24%, got humanitarian protection, and the majority, 3,798 persons, representing 58% of the total decisions in June, were denied protection. 8 had other results. In the second week of July, tensions ran high in Europe. Austria threatened to seal its borders, and rumors circulated that Italy was considering granting humanitarian residence permits and travel documents to more than 100,000 migrants currently awaiting the final decision on their asylum claims, a move which was immediately called the nuclear option. If executed, it would effectively give the migrants, subject to other conditions, the opportunity to circulate within the Schengen area. Austria said this would be unacceptable and promised that it would immediately send soldiers to close the border if it should be put into effect. However, Minister of Foreign Affairs Angelino Alfano was quick to dispel the news, saying that the proposal was not on Italy's agenda. Adding to the storm brewing on the waters was news that a European far-right group called Generation Identity had secured a boat, the Sea Star, for its Defend Europe mission into the Mediterranean Sea. The group planned to sail into the Libyan coast and patrol in an effort to thwart NGO rescues and compel the Libyan Coast Guard to take back asylum seekers attempting to flee war-torn Libya, where they often suffer abuses for years before heading to Europe. However, the right-wing group's plan was temporarily impeded, as its crew and captains were arrested in Cyprus. They were accused of people smuggling after 20 Sri Lankan refugees were found aboard, who reported that they had paid 10,000 euros to get onto the ship and make it to Italy. Of the 20, 5 have since requested asylum, and 15 have flown back to Sri Lanka. Members of the Defend Europe mission have since published a video announcing that they are pressing on despite the speed bump, but official controls and arrests are not the only obstacle against the far-right group. They had originally planned to dock their ship, the Sea Star, in Catania, but were ultimately deterred by anti-racist sit-ins and protests against them in the Sicilian port city, with an Italian representative of the Defend Europe mission saying that Catania was no longer a safe port for them. Matteo Ianniti, one of the organizers of the anti-racist protests, called it a victory not just for the anti-racist movement in Catania, but in all of Italy and even Europe. As for news on land, deterred by police presence at the French-Italian border in Ventimiglia, asylum seekers hoping to leave Italy have begun to choose a new route into France, the town of Bardonecchia, about 250 kilometers north of the old route. But Bardonecchia, which has been the route of choice since early July, may not last long. Infrared sensors are set to be installed on the Italian side of the train tunnel Frejus by early September. The French side already has such sensors, which can detect movement in the tunnel and are used to signal any abnormal movements that could be asylum seekers trying to sneak across the border. While the installation of sensors is expected to take at least a month, 24-hour surveillance by guards is being implemented in the meantime, and French officials report that there have not been any clandestine crossings since the police presence was implemented on Monday, July 31st. Thank you for watching. You can follow our association, Asilo in Europa, on our website, Facebook, and Twitter.